If I leave that there, I'm gonna triple.
I'm going to put it right here. I can all see that. So this week, we're giving up, what are we giving up this week?
Superior.
Very good, very good. Anybody here got superior attitudes toward either other people, other groups, other cultures, or other churches, other schools, other denominations, you see, just about anything that we can think of, that whenever we're part of something, sometimes we think that because we're part of this, that makes this better than that. Because, of course, we're in it, that makes it superior, right? And so we're going to work on that today, and we're going to use the story of Jesus' encounter with the woman at the well as the backdrop for our attitudes of superiority. The whole purpose of the exercise, the whole purpose of this exercise is the same that it's been from the beginning of Lent and will carry us all the way through to Easter morning. It's to make us go deeper within ourselves, to understand who we are, why we do what we do, and is there any room for improvement in who we are so that as it relates to God? Can we become better Christians by going introspective? Can we, as we walk this walk of Lent, our Lenten journey, can each year we be made more Christ-like through our introspection? And so it's not just that we have to have topics to talk about. That's too easy. We could come up with 7 topics in 7 weeks to talk about. These are actually things that the need to control, the need, our expectations, whether they're realistic or not. This week is superiority. Do we have a reason to think that we're superior in any way to any other group? And as Americans, do we think that we're more superior as Americans to any other country? And as a church, are we any better than any other church? As a denomination, are we any better? As a city, does Mesquite stand out better than, say, Detroit? Yep. See? Got to. At least, how about this? When we compare it to Flint, the water may be better. You get the idea. You get the idea. We cannot, we're going to use the backdrop to make us go of the scripture today, to make us think about the ways that we think of ourselves as superior. One of the things that you could do, if you wanted to as an exercise, is go online and just put superiority complex into your Google search and see what pops up as to why we think we're superior in any way. You know the number one reason, the thing that says that the psychologists tell us why people have superiority complexes? I bet somebody here knows why. What is it? I knew Lynn would be all over this. Of course she is. Can I sit down and have a half hour with you? I need to. Insecurities. It's actually because of our own inferiority complex. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, because some would say that if you've got a superiority complex, that cannot house an inferiority complex. But most psychologists, psychiatrists tell us that that's exactly the reason that we have it. We have to be better than others because we're lacking over here. So we put those inferiority complex, those things that we're deficient in, we have to make somebody else that way so that we can be above them. You heard the expression, bringing someone down to our level, or we have to rise above that. Yeah. There's a reason these are said that way. So Jesus, in today's encounter, Jesus goes to, keep in mind last week he was with, come on, it was only 7 days ago. Nicodemus, right? Expectations. When Nicodemus comes to him at night, and Jesus has this conversation with the Pharisee. This conversation today stands in contrast to that one last week. That was John 3. And the big reading in the scripture to come out of John 3 happens in John 3:16. Yeah, there we go. I do that, shaking somebody up, thank you, Gladys. For God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son, whoever believes in Him shall not perish, have eternal life. 4:17. I came into this world not to judge, but through me the world might be saved. The world, the big world, that which we know. Okay, so today we start, and now Jesus was with Nicodemus. He's in Judea, he's in Jerusalem, and now he's getting ready, and he has to go someplace else. So the scripture for this morning reads something like this. So he came to a Samaritan city called Sychar. We don't have verse 4. Do we have verse 4? No, it said that he had to go. I needed to go. I must go. Verse 4 says that, so Jesus had to go there. And picks it up again. It says that he came to a city, in a Samaritan city called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. It's kind of interesting about this well thing. Because, you know, if we go back to the beginning, Jesus says, I had to go there. And he had to go through Samaria. No, he didn't. Keep in mind where he's at. Can you put the map up for just a second on that one? There we go. Don't you love technology? No, not that one. Go back to the map. I already said that. So, down at the bottom, you see where the Jordan River is over there in Jordan? That's that blue thing right there comes down there. That's where he was with John. And if you go to the top of the Jordan River, go that way, you'll see Jerusalem right at the very bottom. It's not that far. Up there where that red dot is, that's Sychar, and there's two mountains. Mount Ebel's on one side, and Mount Gerizim's on the other. Okay, so we've got geography there. And so Jesus is in Jerusalem, and he's needing to get up there. He's going up to Galilee. That's the region up around the Sea of Galilee, which is even north of there. And it says, I had to go there. That may have been the most direct route, but he didn't have to go that way. He could have stayed in the Jordan Valley and walked straight up there, and everything would have been hunky-dory. But he decides and tells his disciples, that's the way that I'm going to go. We're going through Samaria. And that kind of upsets it. It upsets a lot of people. Jacob's well was there. Jesus tired out by his journey, was sitting by the well. It was about noon. So about noon that he's there, and he sits down, and somehow he's with, all of a sudden he finds himself with a Samaritan woman came to draw water. Jesus said to her, give me a drink. The disciples don't seem to be around at this point in time. It just seems to be Jesus and the Samaritan woman. I don't know where they went, but they're not with him any longer. And it's about noon. And Jesus says, to the Samaritan woman, give me a drink. When's the last time, about noon, about the 6th hour, that Jesus says, I'm thirsty?
When he's on the cross.
You've read this book before, haven't you? When he's on the cross. Is John trying to get us kind of in the right frame of mind with this and right thinking about it? Because who did he talk to last? Nicodemus at night. Who's he talking to now? A woman, broad daylight, noon. She stands in contrast to Nicodemus, the Pharisee, and she knows as much about her faith as Nicodemus knows about the Pharisaic laws of the Jews, because she's going to tell him right now. After she says, give me a drink. Help me out, Linda. A woman of Samaria. Jews do not share one thing common with Samaritans. This is the Samaritans are not pure. The Jews are pure. The one thing they don't share in common at all is that, exactly that. One is far superior to the other. Why don't Jews like Samaritans?
Because they're not Jews.
They were. They're the northern kingdom. You remember the monarchy, the Davidic monarchy that was there, and then the monarchy divides? Why did the monarchy divide? Anybody remember that story? Somewhere around the 10th century, after the Davidic line, we got David, Solomon, Saul, David, and Solomon, and then Solomon's son, that's the king now, is called Rehoboam. Rehoboam is the king of Judah. Well, he started to be the king of the whole northern kingdom and the monarchy. But they've been taxing, really taxing the northern kingdom to kind of pay up on their part of it, of protection under the Davidic king. And they're really not liking this too much. The northern kingdom is not having a good time. If you turn back to 1 Kings, I don't like this. Well, I like this. The king Rehoboam took counsel with the older men who had attended to his father. So, Rehoboam's meeting with the elders of the church and said, what should I do about these people in the north? And the old folks say, and he says, how do you advise me to answer this? And they answered him, if you will be a servant to those people today and serve them and speak good words to them when you answer them, then they'll be your servants forever. So Rehoboam said, that sounds like a pretty good idea, but I'm not listening to that. The young men, he's going to now listen to, that was the old men speaking. The young men say, who had grown up with him, said to him, then you should say this to the people who spoke to you. Your father made your yoke heavy, but you must lighten it for us. Thus you should say to them, my little finger is thicker than my father's loins. You can see where this is going, right? Now, whereas my father laid on you a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. I wonder why they don't get along real well. So you know what happened? They have their own king. Now you got Jeroboam, who puts the altar in the high places of Samaria. The sins of Jeroboam is he built the altar, the one that we're talking about today. Because the Samaritan woman is going to say, so engage Jesus in a conversation about where she worships. And it comes straight from the history of the kings of who she is. The Samaritans were, in 722, the Samaritans were overrun, or the northern kingdom was overrun by the Assyrians and carried the biggest part of them off to Assyria and then implanted. They brought people from outside people, at least 5 different groups of people, to intermarry with the Jews that was left in the northern kingdom. And you can't have that. They're no longer pure. We don't share anything in common with you people. You're over there. We're over here. So Jesus talking about the water that is there in verse 10, he says, he answered her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is that is saying this to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water. The woman said to him, sir, you have no bucket and the well is deep. Where do you plan on getting that living water? Are you greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well, and with his sons and the flocks who drank from it? Jesus said to her, everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. Jesus is offering her something that she doesn't know, but she has told him that she knows a lot about Samaritan theology. She knows a lot about Jewish. Why are you even talking to me? You shouldn't even be talking to me. I'm a woman, for one thing. Anybody read any of the apocryphal literature in your Bible? You know, the stuff that some people say that's a Catholic Bible. I don't know why. If we turn to Ecclesiasticus, this is a writing. Apocrypha just simply means hidden. That means it wasn't available when they went looking for scriptures to canonize. But they found almost 75% of the words of Sirach, which is the wisdom of Ben Sirach, was in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it's also a Masada. And so they found, and this was a teaching tool for the first and second century Christians, that they taught out of this book, and some of the things that they taught. So do not give yourself to a woman or let her trample down your strength. Do not go near a loose woman or you will fall to her snare. Do not dally with a singing girl. I didn't like this. One you will be caught by her tricks. Do not look intently at a virgin, or you may stumble and incur penalties for her. Do not give yourself to prostitutes, you'll lose your inheritance. Do not walk around the city streets or wander about in its deserted sections. You know what you'll find. Turn away your eyes from shapely woman. Don't gaze at her beauty beauty belonging to another. Many of you have been seduced by a woman's beauty, and passion is kindled like a fire. Never dine with another man's wife, or revel with her at wine, or your heart may turn aside to her. There's teachings, maybe we should do the same, get this book back out. I don't know. That's some of the problems that we have. This is patriarchal society. You get that. Feelings of superiority. Did Jesus have feelings of superiority when he engaged this woman in conversation? Not the first one. Not the first one. And this is the whole point of this story is that this is a perfect story that talks about Jesus and the sanctity of life the way that he understood it, that all people are of equal value, especially women, because the disciples are going to come back and they're going to have a fit. They're going to have a big fit because they're not going to understand why you are with this woman. They won't say anything. In fact, it even said that. They wondered amongst themselves why he was talking to her. But they didn't say anything to her. And the woman says that, engages in theology and says, we worship on this mountain, but you guys worship in Jerusalem. Pretty much she's saying, who's right? And Jesus said, there'll come a time that you'll worship in spirit and truth. It won't matter. Geography doesn't matter anymore. Condition of your heart, in spirit and truth, begotten by the Spirit, born of the Spirit, filled with the Spirit. That's how you will worship.